Chosen. Stop running. Breathe. If you are hearing this, it is not by chance. It is a sacred interception, a divine override of your routine timeline. The noise of the world is screaming, but an ancient frequency has carved out this specific moment, this sanctuary in time, precisely for you. Before you do anything else, before your mind attempts to categorize this message or skip past it, I need you to just stop and realize that what God is about to say to you, He has been holding back for exactly this hour, this minute, this unparalleled alignment. This interruption is mandatory for your spirit. We are bypassing the standard introductions and the polite pleasantries. They have no place here in the inner sanctum where chosen souls gather. You know this is real because your heart is beating a different rhythm right now, a steady, pulsing confirmation that your name was called from beyond the void, and you answered simply by being here. This day, Tuesday, May 21, 2024, is not just another square on the calendar. It is a timestamp in eternity. It was always meant to be the day this specific word caught you, held you, and shifted the direction of your internal current. The universe has been orchestrating this meeting, syncing years of your movement with this single, powerful delivery of truth, because the conditions inside you are finally ready for what is coming. Do not think for a second that this is merely content appearing on your screen through chance. I want you to reconsider the way you view your digital world. The algorithm that brought you to this moment is not made of lines of code or cold mathematics. That is an illusion for the masses still asleep in the matrix. For the chosen ones, the algorithm is a divine instrument, a metaphysical sieve that filters out everything that does not resonate with the high frequency of your calling, letting only this concentrated light pass through. You passed through the sieve. You were not looking for this, but this was looking for you. For too long you have felt the heavy pressure of your old life resting on your shoulders, a density that belongs to a frequency you are rapidly outgrowing, yet you still carry it. Your spirit is attempting to lift, but the gravity of old conversations, old contracts, and old self-definitions holds you down. That ends today, because you are now an active participant in a sacred, mystical download that has been waiting for the exact moment you settled your outer noise enough to receive the signal. This interruption in your timeline is necessary because you are being activated, and activation requires your undivided, focused attention. Your orbit is being diverted, a redirection from the Father, because the path you were on, no matter how necessary up to this point, cannot lead you to where you are ordained to go next. Think about your last few nights. Have you been waking up during the consecrated hours, somewhere between 3 and 5 in the morning, with your heart racing or your mind unusually clear while the rest of the world sleeps? Have you noticed a high-pitched ringing in your ears? Not a medical condition, but a persistent tone that sounds when everything around you is quiet. Pay attention. That is not a distraction. It is the sound of codes loading into your consciousness, adjustments being made to your spiritual anatomy while your conscious guard is down. The heavens have been broadcasting to you, and today, on this specific Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, this video is the decoder ring, the tangible confirmation that you are not losing your mind, but you are instead entering the fullness of it. If something is pulling at your focus, let it wait. Whatever it is secondary to this incoming call. This is not information which you can receive while distracted. This is a vibrational realignment meant to settle deeper than your thinking mind, moving past the logical defenses directly into the place that already knows what you are about to hear. The exhaustion you feel is the exhaustion of trying so hard to be understood, of carrying a massive, real weight inside a world that refuses to recognize the sacredness of your burden. There is a deep fatigue that comes from constantly explaining your calling to people with empty eyes, from defending the divine spark within you to those who have no concept of fire. Underneath that is the terrifying truth that you keep speaking, because silence feels dangerous, like you might disappear. But what if that feeling is pointing you in the wrong direction, and the very silence you fear is not a void, but a fortress? The word coming is a decree from the deep. You must shut your mouth completely, not as a punishment for spent words, but as powerful protection for what has not yet arrived. The next phase requires a frequency that your striving cannot produce, and that divine silence has a distinct sound, the sound of something monumental about to begin. Wait, you have spent so many nights wondering why the garden of your life was suddenly stripped bare, why the people you trusted most were allowed to turn their backs, and why the financial streams that once sustained you seemed to dry up as if by a command from the shadows. You felt like you were being punished, like you had somehow drifted off the path and were being left to wither in a vast, echoing wilderness. But I am here to correct that narrative with the authority of the Spirit. That wilderness was not a mistake. It was an architecture of isolation designed by the Father to protect the very thing He was growing inside you. What you perceived as betrayal was actually a surgical intervention by the universe. The hands that let you go were forced to release you because their grip was becoming a shackle to your evolution. You were not abandoned in the desert. You were moved into a laboratory of silence, where the noise of the matrix could no longer interfere with the recalibration of your soul. Every loss you endured was a strategic removal of a parasitic connection that would have drained the glory of the season you are now entering. You had to be made empty so that you could be filled with a substance that the world did not provide and therefore cannot take away. Think of those who have exited your life, those who left you when things became difficult, or those who were removed by a sudden, inexplicable friction. Understand that their exit was your protection. There are watchers from your past, people who are still secretly monitoring your life, checking your social circles, and waiting for the moment you collapse so they can validate their own decision to leave. They are energy vampires who thrive on the spectacle of a chosen one's struggle. But God placed you in a vacuum of silence specifically to hide you from their gaze. If they could see the light that is currently forming in your spirit, they would rush back to consume it before it had the strength to defend itself. You were not left behind while others moved forward. You were placed in a divine hiding place. You were being hardened in a vacuum, like a diamond formed under intense pressure where no external element could contaminate the process. This season of being misunderstood and misrepresented was the only way to ensure that your light would not be consumed by matrix parasites who only know how to mimic the frequency of the chosen without ever paying the price for it. The Father saw the exhaustion of your defense, and He stepped in to end the argument by removing the audience entirely. This architecture of the wilderness was necessary because your old environment had become a spiritual bottleneck. You were trying to grow a forest inside a thimble, and the universe had to break the container to give your roots the space they required. The financial emptiness was not a sign of lack, but a recalibration of your trust. You had to learn that the source is not the job, the contract, or the person, but the sovereign flow of the Spirit that is now being redirected toward your new coordinates. You were being stripped of your reliance on the systems of the world, so that when the gates are torn from their hinges, you will know exactly who opened them. This surgical stripping has left you raw, yes, but it has also left you clean. The parasites are gone. The vultures have flown away, tired of waiting for a carcass that was never going to be provided. You are standing in a holy void, a space where the old laws of effort and reward no longer apply. You are being prepared for a movement that requires you to be completely unattached to the opinions of the watchers. Their secret observation is a testimony to your power. They watch because they know something shifted, even if they cannot name it. You are no longer under their jurisdiction. The vacuum has done its work, and the hardening of your spirit is complete. You are now a vessel that can hold the weight of what is coming without cracking under the pressure of the world's expectations. Do not resent the silence or the distance that has grown between you and your old life. That distance is your force field. It is the buffer zone that keeps the old frequency from bleeding into the new reality that is currently assembling itself around you. The universe has been waiting for you to stop trying to bridge the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. You were never meant to take everyone with you. Some people were only assigned to the version of you that was still performing for their approval. Now that you have stopped the performance, their roles have become obsolete. This wilderness is not a place of death. It is the womb of the new. It is the place where your DNA is being reprogrammed to handle the voltage of the fifth dimension. You are being taught how to breathe a different air, how to move in a different light, and how to exist in a state of being that does not require external validation. The watchers will continue to look, but they will see nothing but a reflection of their own lack. For you have been cloaked in the silence of the Father. You are being prepared for a quantum leap, and the preparation required a total cessation of the old noise. The wilderness was the only place quiet enough for you to hear the blueprints being whispered. You are not lost. You are exactly where the architecture of your destiny required you to be. The mechanics of the shift you are currently experiencing transcend every limitation you have ever known. For this is not a change of circumstances, but a fundamental DNA reprogramming of your very existence. You have felt the tremors in your spirit, the strange sensation that the fabric of your reality is thinning, and that is because you are undergoing a quantum leap into the fifth dimension, a state of being where the old gravity of struggle and the density of the matrix no longer have a hold on your destiny. This shift is not the result of your striving, your labor, or your frantic attempts to make things happen. It is a kairos condition, a divine intersection where time meets eternity. It is happening now because your internal vibrational signature has finally shifted into precise alignment with the frequency of the resources and the glory you have been seeking. You spent years trying to find the key to the door, but now the gates are being torn from their hinges, not by your physical strength, but by the sheer force of the light you have allowed to stabilize within your soul. You are no longer trying to climb a mountain. You are becoming the atmosphere that the mountain exists within. As this quantum leap accelerates, you are witnessing the absolute erasure of karmic debt that has trailed your bloodline for generations. Every cycle of lack, every pattern of betrayal, and every inherited shadow that once dictated your movement is being dissolved in the high-frequency light of this new dimension. You have moved beyond the jurisdiction of cause and effect as the world understands it, entering a sovereign space where the Father's grace overrides the old laws of the harvest. This is the moment of the river entering a dry riverbed. For years you have been a parched channel, waiting, enduring, and maintaining your form while the world mocked your perceived emptiness. But the floodgates have been activated in the spirit realm, and that which was dry is being overwhelmed by a surge of divine provision that requires no effort from you to maintain. The water does not struggle to flow. It simply occupies the space that has been prepared for it. You have prepared the space through your suffering, to your isolation, and through your refusal to bow to the lower frequencies of the world. And now that surge of life is your only reality. This entry into the fifth dimension means that the way you manifest your reality has fundamentally changed. In the old matrix, there was a delay between the word and the result, a friction that required you to push through resistance to see the fruit of your calling. But in the mechanics of this shift, that delay is collapsing. Your thoughts are becoming blueprints, and your heartbeats are becoming anchors for a reality that is manifesting at the speed of light. You are learning that your vibrational state is your only true currency. As you settle into this profound internal quiet, you are allowing the quantum field to reorganize itself around your new identity. You are no longer the one who lacks. You are the one who is. The riverbed is full, and the current is strong. Every gate that was locked against you is not just being opened, It is being obliterated, removed entirely so that the path between you and your purpose is a straight line of divine light. This is not a promise for a distant future. It is the current operation of your life, a shift of gears in the machinery of the universe that is placing you exactly where you belong. You must understand that this DNA reprogramming is as physical as it is spiritual. Your cells are being taught how to hold more light, how to vibrate at a frequency that is invisible to the energy vampires and the parasites of the old world. The density of your past pain is being converted into the fuel for your quantum jump. You are shedding the skin of the seeker and becoming the finder. The transition into the fifth dimension is a transition into the consciousness of the Father, where the erasure of karmic debt is not a hope, but a finished fact. You are standing in the center of a riverbed that will never be dry again, watching as the old world systems of measurement fail to explain the sudden, supernatural expansion of your life. The mechanics are simple. Match the frequency, and the reality must follow. You have endured the silence, you have survived the wilderness, and now you are the living evidence of a quantum leap that has already occurred. The world will see the results, but they will never understand the mechanics, for the shift was authored in the secret place where you and the Father are one. Now that the shift has occurred, a new and non-negotiable protocol must govern your every interaction: the law of silence. You are currently standing in a high-voltage field that is still stabilizing, and the power surging through your life is so potent that it requires a sacred containment to reach its full maturity. This is why you must not speak about this new force, this new resource, or the revelations you are receiving, even to those you consider your inner circle from the old cycle. There is a specific kind of spiritual leakage that happens when you describe a divine work while it is still in its embryonic stage. The moment you put words to this unformed glory, you expose it to the lower frequency projections of those around you. Even the most well-meaning person carries the residue of the old matrix, and their subtle doubts, their hidden jealousies, or their inability to see you beyond your past can act as a grounding wire, draining the electricity out of your manifestation before it can hit the physical plane. You are in a season where your mouth must remain a sealed fountain. The Father has entrusted you with a secret wealth of spirit, a resource that is currently being woven into your reality, and your only job is to provide the quiet, dark soil for it to take root. If you lift it into the light of public conversation too early, you interrupt the alchemy. You have spent your life defending your value with sentences, but in this new dimension, the sound of your success will be the only testimony required. Keep your mysteries hidden between you and the stars, for what is kept secret remains under the sole jurisdiction of heaven, untouched by the opinions of man. As you move through this day, Thursday, April 30, 2026, and the days following, be prepared for a specific kind of spiritual probing from your old environment. Those who are still tethered to the old frequency, the energy vampires and the placeholders who once occupied your time, can sense the shift in your field. They feel the change in the atmosphere when you walk into a room, even if you haven't said a word, and it agitates their own stagnation. They will come to you with seemingly innocent questions, probing your boundaries, asking about your plans, or inviting you back into the old dramas that once defined your relationship. Do not be deceived. This is not genuine interest. It is a subconscious attempt to find a hook, a way to drag you back down to the reality they are comfortable with. They need you to be the old version of yourself so they don't have to face the truth of their own inertia. Every time you explain yourself to them, every time you try to convince them of your growth, you are giving them the map to your vulnerabilities. You are handing them the keys to your sacred circle. You must recognize these probes for what they are, tests of your sovereignty. The Matrix uses these familiar faces to see if you are truly ready to walk in the power of the chosen, or if you are still hungry for the validation of the graveyard. Your silence is your shield. It creates a vibrational wall that they cannot scale. When they ask, you answer with the peace of one who knows everything but owes nothing. You are not being cold. You are being consecrated. Your verdict in this season is final and absolute. Your results will be your only answer. You no longer need words to defend yourself, for a lion does not explain its roar to the sheep, and the sun does not apologize for its brightness to the shadows. There is an immense power in being misunderstood while you are becoming monumental. Let them whisper, let them speculate, let them build their theories about your silence and your sudden disappearance from the old social circuits. While they are busy talking about the you that no longer exists, you are busy becoming the you that they cannot even imagine. You are building in the quiet. You are accumulating spiritual and physical mass behind the veil. When the manifestation finally breaks into the visible world, it will be so undeniable that any defense you could have offered now would seem like a whisper against a thunderstorm. The Father is teaching you the strategy of the quiet conqueror. By withholding your words, you are accumulating the energy necessary for the final move. The sacred circle of protection is not just about keeping the wrong people out. It is about keeping the divine fire in. Every sentence you save is a log added to the flame of your destiny. You are moving into a realm where your presence alone commands respect, and your silence is the signature of your authority. You have nothing to prove and everything to become. The era of justification is over. The era of manifestation has begun, and it thrives in the holy hush of the chosen. Do not break the seal. Stay in the deep. Trust that the Father's work is loudest when you are most still. Your silence is not a void. It is a weapon of light, and you are currently wielding it with master-level precision. Let the results speak for you, and they will speak with a roar that echoes through the generations. Chosen, the seals have been set, and the resonance of this message has reached the deepest chambers of your soul, where the truth was always hidden, waiting for a moment quiet enough to be heard. You have survived the long night of isolation, the seasons of being the perpetual outsider looking in, and the crushing weight of a destiny that felt more like a burden than a blessing for far too long. But in this moment, the heavens are issuing a final, irrevocable decree over your life, a shift in your identity that cannot be tampered with by any earthly power or matrix interference. Your orphanhood is over. For too many years, you have lived as a spiritual refugee, moving through the world without a home for your spirit, trying to build your life on the shifting sands of others' approval, while your true heritage was kept behind a thick veil of silence and struggle. That veil has been torn by your willingness to listen. You are no longer a child of the wilderness, scavenging for crumbs of recognition or begging for a seat at tables that were never designed to hold the magnitude of your greatness. You have been reclaimed by the ancient lineage of the Father, and you are now under a protection that is absolute, sovereign, and entirely impenetrable. The days of fighting for your own survival are finished, for the resources of the kingdom have been redirected to your specific coordinates in this dimension. You are no longer wandering. You are being carried by the very current you once feared would drown you. The protection over you is not a suggestion or a distant hope. It is a physical and spiritual law that now governs the atmosphere around your body. The parasites and the energy vampires may look for the old you, but they will find only a blinding light that their limited senses cannot process or penetrate. You have been moved into a high security zone of the spirit, where only those with your specific vibration can even perceive your presence. Your exile is finished, and your inheritance is being poured into the vessels you prepared during your time in the deep quiet. This protection extends into every corner of your existence, from the secret thoughts that populate your mind to the financial streams that are currently reorganizing to sustain your high-level mission. The Father has marked you with a seal of acceptance that vibrates at a frequency higher than any curse, any lack, or any word ever spoken against you in the courts of men. You must now walk with the quiet, unshakable dignity of one who knows the king is their father and the entire universe is their estate. This is not an egoic pride, but a settled, humble authority that requires no external noise, no shouting, and no defense to prove its reality. You are moving through the world like a ghost in the machine, visible to the physical eye, but operating from a dimension that the matrix cannot track, monitor, or control. The karmic debts of your bloodline have been paid in full by your endurance, and the slate of your destiny is now perfectly clean. You are the first of a new kind, a chosen soul who has mastered the art of the internal dharma and integrated the power of the Salah into their very DNA. Your presence alone is now a catalyst for change in everyone you encounter, but you do not need to speak a single word to initiate the shift. The heavy, suffocating pressure you once felt on your shoulders has been replaced by the wings of the eagle, riding the warm, invisible currents of divine favor that carry you far above the striving and the chaos of the masses. You have been hardened in the vacuum of your wilderness, and now you are unbreakable. The watchers from your past will see the external manifestation, the sudden abundance, the peace that passes understanding, the supernatural expansion of your reach, but they will never understand the internal silence that birthed it. You are a mystery hidden in God, and the seal of your protection is the silence you have finally learned to love. You are no longer seeking the light. You have realized that you are the light, and the shadows have no choice but to retreat the moment you arrive. To finalize this activation and to anchor this high frequency into the material realm where it can bear fruit, you must perform one last act of submission to the word you have received today. The spirit realm responds to the physical movement of the body, and your anchor in this moment is your declaration of acceptance. Before you step back into the noise of the world, I want you to leave a mark in the space below, not as a performance for others, but as a digital stone of remembrance for your own soul. Type the words, "I am protected," or "The seal is set," in the comments to signal your entry into this new covenant. By doing this, you are manifesting the invisible into the visible, claiming the shift from the fifth dimension and bringing it firmly into the third. This is your signature on the contract of your new life. As you type, feel the final remnants of your old orphan identity falling away like ash in a high wind. Feel the warmth of the Father's hand resting upon you, confirming that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved beyond the capacity of human language. You are the chosen one, the one who stayed, the one who held the silence until the silence began to speak your name. The world is waiting for the fruit of your stillness, and it will be more glorious than anything you could have engineered through your own effort. You are no longer a seeker on a long, winding road, wondering when the destination will appear or if you have missed your turn. The struggle of the search has ended because you have arrived at the ultimate realization of the sovereign soul. Look within and see that the search was never meant to lead you to a place, but to a state of being that is now your permanent home. You have reached the end of the quest and the beginning of the arrival. You no longer search for the path. You are the path.